Good morning on this Thursday. One more alarm clock. It's December 8th. Brian, I see you smiling. Steve, isn't that great news? I'm Ainsley, here with Steve and Brian. Listen to this. General outrage. Donald Trump set to name another general to his cabinet, putting 3 top military men in his inner circle. And the left is freaking out about this. Wait until you hear what they're saying this morning.
And maybe it is time for a different approach because the Obama administration just said this about ISIS.
The ability of ISIL to initiate major land offensives, that was not on my intelligence radar screen.
It wasn't? We were all talking about it. We have tape that proves otherwise, Mr. President.
Yup, and Colin Kaepernick, are you listening?
Those who died that fateful morning 75 years ago never took a knee and never failed to stand whenever they heard our national anthem being played.
And they just stood up and applauded that. The Admiral's patriotic message going viral. We'll share it with you because your mornings are better because you're with friends.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
We hope Sheriff Clark knows our name.
Oh, sure. Everybody knows his name now. He's going to be on with us. Interesting. He's going to tell us that fake news started with Ferguson, Missouri. That's coming up. Plus, here's the reason why we're listening to music.
John Ratzenberger will be with us.
He's going to help us go Christmas shopping.
He is. He also is the voice of the working man, the blue-collar worker, and a great postman.
Also, Marcus Allen, the football great, will be here, and Jenny Garth from 90210. I wanted to be her when I was in high school.
Well, now you can have her recipes because she's cooking with friends on this Thursday. Welcome aboard, live from New York City. It's Fox and Friends, the world's #1 cable morning news show. Thanks to you.
Yes, thank you.
Meanwhile, I was watching Kellyanne Conway yesterday, and I didn't know this. She said the number's about 70. About 70 different people have already been invited up and come up to visit Donald Trump. Some are appointments, some just being consulted, some are just offering goodwill, and others are invitations from people from the other side. But meanwhile, along the way, Donald Trump is setting a record pace for filling out his cabinet. And yesterday was also a very significant day.
You know, what's interesting about the Donald Trump cabinet, and yesterday's big face is retired Marine General John Kelly, heading up the Department of Homeland Security. This is not a usual Republican cabinet, which is Republican establishment, think tankers, and government officials. Instead, he's got business people, he's got government officials, but he's got a lot of military men. So far, it looks like 3. Also, he's considering David Petraeus and Admiral Stavridis for the Department of State. Plus, he's considering Admiral Mike Rogers for the Department of Director of National Intelligence. So he could have 5 different generals there, which is interesting because a lot of people say there's always been a constitutional tenet where you have a division between the civilian and military. You got so many military guys. Do you really want to do that?
Well, the 3 generals that we know for sure that will be on the cabinet, General Flynn, General Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis, and then also General John Kelly, who's Homeland Security Director, and that was just announced.
So you have these generals together, and many people speculate, well, wait a second, is this the right mix? Are we sending out the right message? Especially Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff, and then listen to Josh Earnest take a shot at Donald Trump.
What may tip the balance for me is if the president-elect populates even more positions with the administration with other military figures, I'm going to have a lot of heartburn about this. It's going to place the Mattis waiver in real jeopardy.
The kinds of people that President-elect Trump has chosen appear to have, in many cases, different priorities, different styles, and in some cases, starkly different bank accounts.
Right. So there are some rich people. That's usually not a bad thing.
What's wrong with
Nothing.
having differences?
But I also thought Josh Earnest is not on the same page as his president, because evidently his president has been speaking with Donald Trump about cabinet positions, and Donald Trump's lauding him for the advice he took. And when Adam Schiff comes out and says, I might have a problem with this, he's not in step with his leadership, because Nancy Pelosi and Adam Smith over on the West Coast, they said, listen, we're not going to stop Mattis's waiver.
Right, which is a good thing. I mean, I think people really,
Absolutely.
I know his supporters, Donald Trump supporters, are excited about that. What's wrong with this, though? You've got Donald Trump, who's bringing jobs back. He's already doing that with Carrier, and that was the #1 reason people went to the polls. The #2 is national security. So if he fills his cabinet with 3 to 5 generals or people with military experience, those are the kinds of people that have fought for our country, that have sacrificed the most. You have General Kelly. He lost his son. He served for 40 years before he retired from the Marines. He's a Gold Star father. He lost his son in Afghanistan in 2010, Marine First Lieutenant Robert Kelly. This is a man who knows what it's like to sacrifice.
In charge of the Southern Command of the country.